This is every way you can break Minecraft in one video. So make sure not to try these on a world that you care too much about, since some are really destructive. Starting with
chocolate TNT.
This is compressed TNT.
Not what I thought it was.
It's about to be depressed TNT when we see how much it explodes.
Oh,
it made more of them.
where?
How pleasant. In the ground.
Oh, there we go.
The snack that smiles back, it's packed.
Oh, that's a lot.
Oh, my, okay, you know what? I was talking a big game, but these blocks put me to shame.
While blaze spawners make for a pretty popular way to get plenty of EXP in the nether, anyone who's ever messed around with a fully automatic gold farm knows that the zombie piglins can offer their fair share. But one of the reasons for that actually bases around a glitch. You see, many people know that the way that their aggression system works is that when they get attacked, they actually get the other people around them angry as well. But what's interesting is that if we kill some of those auxiliary aggro pigmen, even if we don't touch them at all, they still drop EXP. And this is what allowed us to make fully automatic AFK gold farms for EXP in the nether. And now for the foreseeable future, this is now working as an intended mechanic, which is great for both us and our mending tools. Looting 3 is an amazing enchantment, which makes it a real shame that Mojang only intended it for swords. Though even if Mojang intended it one way, that doesn't mean we have to play by those rules. Through the help of the offhand function, it's possible to throw a ranged weapon in our second hand and still have the looting enabled. From there, whether it's instant health on a bunch of zombies, a bow for creepers, or even snowballs on a blaze, the looting enchantment is applied just like the sword. And better yet, no damage is actually done to the looting weapon, letting you get away scot-free and still benefit from the tool's power. A minecart by itself doesn't move on a rail. I mean, that's really why we're supposed to have furnace minecarts to move them. But the truth is that if you have 10 extra ingots of iron, you're able to make this a lot easier. Since by putting 3 minecarts into the same spot, you'll then find that they're able to move on their own without any rails. And it gets even weirder from there. Like, they'll typically start to move diagonally like this, and then if you have these 1-block gaps that are in the floor, they'll just roll over it with no problem. Which, I'll be honest, I can't say I'm a little jealous. It's embarrassing when 3 minecarts are better at parkour than me. In a lot of ways, single player can be a much riskier operation than a server. At the very least, you've got no one else to blame if something goes wrong. So, say you're playing by yourself late one night and happen to stumble into a nether river. Now, the situation does look pretty dire, but not unsalvageable. You see, one major exploit in the single player system is the ability to pause whenever you like. And that's where the saving grace comes in. By quitting and rejoining constantly, you can use the brief seconds of spawn protection each time to maneuver yourself out of the situation. Is it cheating? Sure, but hey, who said exploits have to be fair? Here's how to use a bundle to duplicate all of your diamonds. All you gotta do is lay out 9 diamonds on the crafting table to craft a diamond block, and then use the bundle to pick up the individual items in the crafting table. At that point, we still have our 9 diamonds in our inventory, but the diamond block will remain in the crafting table. And now we went from 9 diamonds to 18, giving you a short track to the new richest person on the server. I would just suggest moving. I don't think the IRS takes kindly to diamond duping. This one's called Stone Cold.
Oh,
really?
oh, it's working.
Oh, I wonder why.
And that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so.
Oh my God.
I could just see a little ripple effect through the world as it deletes.
Yeah,
What happened?
What was going on?
Okay, all right.
And I got slowness. It's a winter wonderland here.
Minecraft's a world made of blocks. Not circles, not triangles, but blocks. Which is great, but it makes a site like this look even more cursed. Though while this might seem like some wacky mod, it's actually all possible within vanilla. As the Minecraft genius Seth Bling shows, using a mixture of invisible shulkers and armor stands, we can create a fairly convincing 45-degree slope in our world. And while some of the blocks like diamond ore don't work quite right, it is still impressive to see just how much is possible here, even if it does feel illegal to watch. Spawning into a new world should be a positive experience. After all, it's the start of something fresh and exciting, so that's gotta count for something. But in this case, it's more of a rude awakening than a clean start, since on this seed, we just so happen to spawn right on top of a cactus of all places. And I don't think I'm out of line by calling that a bad spawn. So if you want to start out your world with a depleted health bar and a bad attitude, I guess this does the trick, for whatever that's worth. When you place down a block inside of a bubble column in Bedrock Edition, then there's a chance that that block will appear as if you waterlogged it, even if it isn't a waterloggable block. And that's easiest to see with glass like this, but it can also work with other blocks like honey blocks. Though keep in mind, this is just a visual bug. You don't actually have an aquarium there. When you log out and log back in, it'll just disappear. Normally, we're only allowed to place our torches on our floors, our walls, and that's it. However, with this, the lanterns aren't the only ones that we can plant on our ceiling. And the image of an upside down torch is really funny. I would love particularly if this is how you could get the torches to burn out, seeing as the fire just creeps up the rest of the stick that way, and you'd be left with nothing more than ash falling on your head. But I think what's really cool is that the redstone torch works the intended way too. So while I get why this isn't in the base game, I'm a little disappointed to say that we don't have this feature in it. Confusing? Yes, but cool? Also yes. Now on this show, we've talked plenty about the different quirks and idiosyncrasies that you can find in Bedrock, and with the 1.17 update came a slew of new ones. To see such, take a look at this axolotl here. Now, if we were to tie up the animal with a lead and then pick it up with a water bucket, then when we place it back down, it'll still have that leash attached. And the reason being is that in Bedrock, all of the NBT data is saved when you put the mob inside the container. So if you need another inventory slot, this is one way to bury the lead. Why place your fences like this when we can do this instead? Well, it does offer up some extra detail, but it seems a lot less useful as a fence. I mean, what are you trying to do? Stop spiders from crawling out of a farm? I didn't think so. But if we're talking about placing blocks off the grid, then we're just getting started. In Bedrock Edition, if you lay a cauldron underneath a piece of bedrock, or any block for that matter, and then fill it in twice with powdered snow buckets, the result is a powdered snow block in place of that bedrock. And what's even better is that we can reuse that same snow for doing it all over again. Beacons are a sight we're all familiar with, but maybe not like this. Though, even if this seems cursed, the tech to pull it off is surprisingly simple. See, beacons are transparent blocks, meaning beacon beams can pass through other beacons. So if you have the spare blocks on hand, you can make something of a custom beacon in vanilla. And while this does wind up being a pretty expensive facade, the results are definitely unique, and it might be the perfect prank for your next friend's visit. In 20W22A, there was a glitch where if you logged into your Minecraft world with the clouds turned on, and then turned them back off, and if you do that correctly, the clouds should stop moving on screen. That is, until you move. At which point they'll follow your every movement precisely, which is more than a little creepy. I've heard of the hills having eyes, but I guess the clouds do too. If you were to place fences underneath the end portal in the stronghold, then when you drop any kind of falling block like sand or gravel on top of it, you'll notice that when you jump through to the end side of the portal, you'll be collecting duplicates of that same block. Though to do this, the falling block has to fall from more than 6 blocks above the portal. You fail to do that, and you'll just be stuck with a singular sand block, and that's just sad. If you really want to make your build feel as big as feasibly possible, then this is a simple way to do that. Since if we connect our portals in such a way where this one loops into the one behind it, then when you run through, we've got an infinite loop. Now it's hard to tell if we're chasing ourselves or if they're chasing us. And where this can really start to mess with your head is if you start looking around in the other directions that you lit. And honestly, if you build one of these out in the open like we did initially here, it's amazing how weird it looks there too. Like we've got an infinite tunnel digging into this mountain when we all know that there's nothing there. We didn't build that. But it does give you the perfect place for a Scooby-Doo haul chase, and I think that's pretty fun. This is custom firework. The block below the TNT is chosen for the firework.
Whoa. Whoa!
Ooh.
Beautiful. It's like a pink flower. It's all pointing that way.
Yeah, dude, all signs. Maybe I should call her. It's a sign. In current versions of the game, it's still possible to open up a shulker box, even if it's going to collide with a block. And folks, the number of blocks this can happen with is too long to list off here. Really, just place any of these next to a shulker box, open it up, and you'll see something that looks far from intentional. But perhaps the most interesting is that it also doesn't break the blocks that it interacts with, which is nice of it. It only breaks some rolls, not the annoying ones. If you see this coming towards your base, be very afraid, since as it was designed by generic redstone genius, this cute little flying machine ends up being a devastating nuke. Since when there's virtually no limit to how many TNT minecarts you can put on top of a regular rail, we guarantee that when this flying machine hits its target, it's gonna have enough firepower to make even the worst nukes cry. So whether you're using this to get rid of a mountain or your friend's base, for how small of a footprint it is, this might be the easiest way to achieve world domination in your next world. If you're playing on peaceful mode, keep this one in mind, since the truth is that you're going overkill if you're putting Respiration 3 on your helmet, since in this difficulty, putting any level of respiration on your helmet will mean that you cannot drown. And the reason for this is that the peaceful mode regeneration rate is enough to actually keep up with the drowning damage that you take when you have respiration. So don't waste your levels trying to go overkill on this. Minecraft stacks by default only go up to 64, but there's something secret that happens when you get a stack of items larger than 1,073,741,823. And you're able to find it out with this mod. With the mod stacker, you're able to change the config to have up to 1 billion items in one stack. And when you have to hover over the items to just see how many you have in that stack, you know that you're pretty rich. And honestly, for how fast some farms can get in the game, it would be funny to see all of that output put into one single item slot. Oh, and what's the secret thing that happens when you get your item stack over that limit? Well, thanks to the integer limit, the game just is gonna crash. I guess we only go up to 64 for a reason, huh? This has to be the new fastest way to travel inside of Minecraft. Since now, if we throw an ender pearl inside of the portal, it'll still be a projectile when it reaches the other side, meaning we're still able to teleport with it when we launch it into another portal over there, allowing aligned just right in this example, Acid Omega Pro was able to use it to teleport up to this top level portal in no more than the blink of an eye. You don't even go into the nether to notice this. Before you realize it, you're already back at the overworld at your destination. Just make sure you have feather falling boots so you're not taking all the damage from all that teleporting. This is Wasteland TNT.
Wow, I wonder what this does. I can only take about 2 guesses. 1, it explodes. 2, it makes a wasteland.
This looks like my dandruff.
Does it, Skip? So
Yeah.
this looks like my dandruff.
That's what happens when Dan drives a car.
He dandruffed.
Warden's a tough mob to kill, and because of that, it can't drown or burn alive. So if you were to put it on top of a pad of magma blocks, it would never die. But if you put those same magma blocks underwater, it also can never escape. Because its movement speed is too slow to escape the current, it'll just spin around in a circle on those bubbles, which is hilarious to watch, but still don't get too close to it. Otherwise, it could still use its sonic boom attack and make it a lot less funny to watch. As wild as this L-shape looks, it is possible in Minecraft history. And as Baron Dunn will show you, there was one of these triple chests that naturally generated on 2b2t. And the way this was created was by 2 different dungeons generating nearby each other. And nowadays, the closest we can get to this is by using a mod like Colossal Chests, which is arguably just as cursed. Here's how to make your spyglass even better. Since the way that the spyglass works, it actually modifies your existing FOV. So while we could use our regular FOV and have it zoom in this much, if we lower that FOV to the bottom at 30, then you'll notice when we use the spyglass, it zooms in even closer. And then if you've got an additional zoom mod on top of that, you can really use this trick to get up close and personal, and then immediately switch off the lower FOV, because playing the rest of the game this way is miserable. In a game made of cubes, getting a convincing circle is a tough concept, but with a mix of cleverly placed stairs and blocks, we can start to get a pattern like this. And to go a step further, by using a mix of item frames and torches, we can use this command to place seemingly illegal decorations off of the grid. So while you might have to trust the process to pull this off, the end result is nothing short of mind-bending. And if anything, it's just weird to finally place torches on a stair block. It just doesn't look right. What we've got here is a wither cage. As you see here, we've got ourselves something that'll automatically break blocks that we put up for. So we're using literal targets and it'll destroy it. So by having a wither with enough water on top of it and keeping it in place, you can redirect its projectiles towards Observer and he tanks them like no issue. By having this here, it draws the wither's aggression towards this cod and it shoots off in the direction that we want it to. From this angle, my skin looks fine, but in actuality, we've flipped it around so that my textures for my skin are actually played on my back, which gives you a great way to mess with your friends. And to go one step further and keep up the facade, if you play in third person mode with F5, then you can navigate while keeping your skin properly oriented. That is, until it's time for the big reveal and your friend thinks they're doing something behind your back, only for you to have been able to see the entire thing all along. By using this command to change the scale of our projectiles, you can see that when we get ready to shoot an arrow from our bow, it's going to be a lot larger than the bow that we even used to shoot it. And to me, this is hilarious. I mean, if you only had one in the chamber, you'd at least hope that it's one of these. That seems like it would get the job done. And seeing this done with all the different projectiles in Minecraft, it gets pretty funny. Plus, we can even have it go the other way, giving us teeny tiny projectiles that we can shoot out. I mean, I've heard of a pea shooter, but I've never heard of a pea-sized shooter. That's just brutal. And I think it's very funny when you see this done with tridents as well. We don't think of those as projectiles, but now you might think of them as forks on the ground. But hey, if you come to a fork in the road, I guess you can pick it up. In recent updates, iron farms have never been easier to build. Since in the past we might have had to spend all the time to place down these doors in a specific way, now an entire iron farm could be kept to this small design. And as RaiseWorks shows off, we can build this iron farm design in 5 minutes, which that little of a time investment's able to get us 300 to 400 ingots per hour. So unless you start building with iron blocks, there's hardly even a need to go past this rate. It's really a no-brainer to have one of these in your world. One of the most classic ways to use your map art is by making an infinity room. Now, if you haven't seen it, the way that this works is that we're making full white snow-covered maps and then putting them on full bright light. Just like that, your friend gets transported into the Matrix and you have no clue which direction you're even looking at. Truly, if your friend's AFK, this is one of the classic traps to put them in. As long as they're a good sport and don't try to break any blocks on their way out, then you can give them quite the run for their money when they come back from being AFK. I need to show you the Disintegrating TNT.
Oh, it made a copy of itself.
It's literally called Disintegrating TNT.
Wow. I'm gonna guess that it's gonna disintegrate. What do you think, Dan?
How will
Too
the
late.
Ravager handle this?
There it go. Well,
Oh,
he
there
handled
we...
You handled it pretty well.
It's like
Never
collecting
understand.
back into the center, too. Sorry, I ordered cheddar, not Swiss. It's weird to think about that when elytras were first added into the game, there wasn't a way to make them fly. Rather, they were way more of a gliding technique. That is, until players found out the unintentional way of putting their bow to use. As you can see, when you're flying around with an elytra, all it takes is hitting yourself with a couple of punch 2 arrows, and boom, you're flying off into the indefinite. Now, even if we wouldn't exactly call this a bug, it definitely wasn't what Mojang had in mind. So, as a response, in 1.11 Snapshot 16W50A, that's when we got the intended way of doing this, which was, of course, firework rockets. And thank goodness for that, because the last thing I'm trying to do while I'm exploring my world is land a couple of bullseyes on my head to keep myself going forward. With just a lever and some redstone dust, we're able to lag the game so much that we can basically freeze time. Since with the way that Mojang's coded redstone dust, it gets pretty laggy when you connect a bunch of these up to a lever. And then by using something like the fast right-click feature in a mod like Tweakaroo, we can flip that same lever on and off until eventually the redstone's updating so much that we've basically slowed time down to a crawl. And then that's where the fun begins, since one of the easiest tricks to pull off with this is to break bedrock. Or if you wanted to, you could use this to freeze time on a multiplayer server, build an entire structure, and then when time switches back to normal, your friend will have no idea where that came from. But let me warn that in that case, you don't want to span the lever for too long, since doing it for longer than 60 seconds might just trigger Minecraft's watchdog to terminate the server. But as long as you freeze time in smaller increments, they'll be none the wiser. Have you ever tried sprinting backwards? Well, it sounds crazy, but with a glitch, it's possible. See, the community's found a way that if you sprint and then immediately jump in the opposite direction, you can actually sprint backwards on bedrock, which can come in handy when you need to escape from a primed creeper explosion. Just be sure to be careful not to run into any unwanted chasms. The way that Minecraft loads the chests that you find inside of shipwrecks, it can sometimes cause quite a bit of lag, which is usually the result of the game generating the map data for the map that you find inside. But lag it out at the wrong time, and you could just end up with a completely blank treasure map, which, speaking from experience, can lead to some frustration. Alright, you guys want to see what a chunk TNT looks like? I have a guess. Ooh, that is a chunk.
You could do. Not anymore.
Yay!
Look at all the floating command blocks. By looking into this hole, we've got ourselves a perfect cow spying machine. And best yet, the cow's none the wiser. And the way that we make this happen is having an immersive portal tied up together with a repeating command block so that it's constantly teleporting our portal directly over an entity that we want to watch. And the original poster on Reddit has an even more helpful set of rules that you can see here on screen. Make the portal, name it with the command, and then with a repeating always active command block, you have it constantly teleport the portal entity above whatever entity that you want it to follow, giving us the perfect crystal ball to spy on your friends or your enemies. I won't judge. From the outside, this house doesn't seem that impressive, but this will just go to show that you shouldn't always judge a book by its cover, since when one step through this doorway, we're actually going to enter through the immersive portals from this mod and step right from our small house facade in the overworld into a giant house inside of the nether. And now it doesn't look like the house is so small, but rather that your friend shrunk. But hey, it can be hard to find good real estate sometimes, so this seems like a good way to have plenty of storage and not have to worry about any of the cost of the land. Here's how to survive the void in survival mode. Since unlike in Java, if you play in Bedrock Edition, there's actually an invisible floor that exists right on top of the void. So if you were to give yourself plenty of enchanted golden apples and ways to stay alive, then when you drop down onto the void, you can actually still walk along the floor. Not that it's an enjoyable stroll, but it's better than dying outright. I must be a bad trainer, because no matter how many times I try to tame wolves, I can never get them to sit still. Though the reason for that might just be because when you summon a wolf on top of a slime block and then tame it, you can't actually get it to sit down, since the way that the slime block works, it's a little bit less than a full block size. And that confuses the wolf's hitbox so that it sits down and then stands right back up. I can't say I blame them, I also don't want to sit down in Nickelodeon gack. Since the 1.16 update, the nether has been a lot more dangerous to traverse. But while we do have new hostile mobs in the way of piglins and hoglins, there is a glitch that might help ease the pain. Now, to pull this off, hold up your shield the second that you go through a portal. Then, after the dimension loads in, you'll find yourself on the other side virtually unchanged. However, the game keeps your shield held up even while you're attacking or sprinting, meaning you can fight mobs as usual while still blocking their attacks. Now, the glitch doesn't allow you to eat or place blocks while you're doing this, but the other payoff is pretty worthwhile. How about we go learn about flat Earth?
42.
Wait,
Okay,
fact?
let's do it. Fact.
Fact or cap?
Let's learn about sheep. Sheep, stay away. You're gonna get your sheep doesn't want to learn about flat Earth.
Yeah, one of the sheeples.
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh, look at it! The whole thing got a haircut! Using this modded wrench, we can rotate and nudge blocks off of their regular path, which, as 8-sided square shows, can create some hilariously cursed builds, like turning a drip leaf into a droop leaf, or putting 4 flower pots into the same 1 block space. And really, it's only gonna take a few clicks before everything looks out of place. Now, whether you call this GIF or GIF, chances are we've all seen them. And while they're commonplace, in Minecraft, they're a lot more rare, which makes this item frame a real sight to see. Though what's crazier still is that this is all done without using any mods, meaning we can not only play these animations within our world, but we can also record some of our own as well. And while I wouldn't use this to record your next hardcore Let's Play, it's still an amazing feat of Minecraft engineering, and it offers up some hilarious gags as well. In Snapshot 21W08B, you didn't have to use a budding amethyst to get more of this stuff, but instead, by placing a piston facing upwards with a slime block on top, all we had to do was line all faces of that slime block with a corresponding max amethyst chunk, so that when we activated the piston, it would duplicate all of the shards. Which, if you need a lot of tinted glass, could come in handy. But I can't say the same if you need a lot of spy glasses, because those are barely useful when you have 1 of them, let alone 65. If we continue to wrap through these portals in the opposite direction, we can get ourselves down to an incredibly small size. And what I think is so funny about this is that we actually interact with things very different here. Like for us, falling off of a carpet wouldn't be that bad in regular size. But when you get this small, it's the equivalent of falling off of a 5-story building. The way that banners render in Bedrock, it's possible to place a banner down in water and it'll be completely visible from up top. Just, soggy. If you don't have an ender chest, then hiding your valuables is a tricky business. And while we've talked plenty about the creative ways to stash your loot, this might just be a new favorite. While playing in Bedrock Edition, if you push a block into a chest minecart, then, even though it's still there, you can't see the entity. And here's the best part. We can open it up just the same. Just make sure your crosshair lines up like such where you can't see the outline of the block, and then you'll be safe to tuck something in the bookcase and know it's safe and sound. Okay, this one's called Heatwave.
Oh, great. If this TNT explodes and there's just fire where it... Oh, okay, here we go.
Thank you.
It's going to explode. There's going to be fire on the ground calling it now.
They're our Ravager test subject. It's literally just fire.
I literally called it.
You literally called it. You called it verbatim. Oh my god, look at the range though.
Admittedly, it is a lot of fire.
If you've got access to the top of the nether roof, then you got yourself a food farm. Since for only 30 minutes of your time, you could build this extremely simple hoglin farm. And that way we're getting ourselves both cooked pork chops and leather too. And probably the best part about this is that it requires no complicated redstone or anything like that. Literally all we're doing is just scaring away the hoglins with warped fungus. And then by setting the light level of the farm so that only the hoglins can spawn, we're ensuring that when we go up top here, we'll have enough food to supply multiple players on the server with literal food for years. Breaking blocks is one of the cornerstones in Minecraft, but typically we only break those within a certain radius of the player, or at least that's how it used to be. But as it's coded here, anytime that we shoot an arrow, it breaks the blocks that it lands on, allowing us to not only mine stuff from a safe distance, but also opens up the possibility for some new minigames. And I, for one, would love to play a game of Spleef like this, especially using a multi-shot crossbow.
What's this one?
This one's called Fiery Hell.
Oh, don't you know
you know what I'm gonna like?
For?
Oh,
you scared? You a little scared of it, Dan? See, nothing happened.
Oh,
never mind.
No, there you are.
Okay.
Oh, the demons from the beyond.
guys, I think we might have built the nether portal a little wrong. Let's be honest, some Minecraft worlds are better than others. And that means that if you were to use a seed like the one on screen, you'll find that from the get-go, you're instantly better off than other people. Because by just simply spawning next to a mushroom island, you're essentially playing on peaceful mode, regardless of how bad things get. Since the only mobs that are able to spawn down here in the dark are bats. And that way, you're able to go caving around your base without any worries. And you can also do it without lighting up the area. So as long as you don't run into any monster spawners nearby, this will turn your hardcore world into the easiest that it can be. And as soon as you figure out how to get wood when you're on this island, that's all your problems solved. This is...
Whoa!
Oh, there it goes.
City Firework.
What?
You guys remember the house TNT?
Oh my god, what? What a lovely home. Uh-oh.
This is awesome.
Oh, I get it. This
is awesome, dude.
Hold on, we gotta test something. City Fireworks, so good.
Oh no, I'm just gonna back away. Oh
Okay, it blew the sun out of the sky.
Urban development, man. It's a beautiful thing.
Instead of building a volcano in your next Minecraft world, you should really just build a portal, since that's what user Potato Boy did on Reddit and got the exact same effect. Now, thanks to the Immersive Portals mod, if you set up a portal on the other side of the nether, then when we glance through the top of our so-called volcano, you'll be glancing straight into the fire and the flames. And with shaders like they're using here, the effect gets even better. And a sacrifice of people in the nether's gonna be even better at getting the job done than some volcano would. So get ready for a bountiful harvest this year. Now, what we've got here is flying squids. So what'll happen is squids will start to glitch out if there's too much entity cramming and swim outside of the block. See, what's funnier to me about this is that squids used to be able to fly around. So this to me seems like they're trying to go back to their roots and we're just rubber banding them back. We're clipping their wings. Look, this one's getting pretty far. If you were to plant a mangrove propagule and then build a 9x9 cube solid of mud blocks above it, then when you use bone meal to grow that tree, notice that this is a rare case where the mangrove tree will actually destroy any mud block above it, which this is really just left in as a holdover so that the mangrove tree can grow its roots down into the mud below. But mud above the tree, that's a rare case, so I don't blame Mojang for not checking for this. The only time you really put mud in the air is so they can dry it out on a dripstone. You ever wonder how hamsters are able to run in those balls for hours? Yeah, I know, I don't get it either. I also don't get anyone who's able to run, period. But after looking at this illusion by Rock and X10, I can at least see some of the fun to it. At first look, this seems like a pretty cramped hallway, but halfway through, we're walking through an immersive portal so that we're not actually walking to the other side of the hallway, but rather falling into it, until eventually we have this repeating circle illusion. And, you might not want to eat before you try this one. It can get a little disconcerting, but come on, it's still pretty cool. Traversing the nether is a tricky business, and the open fields of lava don't make that any easier. So if a strider isn't your style, then this method is well worth a shot. See, as coded, we get something of a lava boat to use in the second dimension. And while it's ridiculous, it's hard to say that a Frostwalker boat wouldn't be cool to try. I mean, I'd even love to use that in the overworld, let alone the nether. And being able to drift to the nether fortress in style is a great addition, no doubt. Finding a reliable fuel source in Minecraft is a tough concept. Whether it's charcoal or blaze rods, these farms take a lot to get up and running. And while the 1.17 update should have made the choice obvious, unfortunately, we still aren't able to take lava buckets out of the lava cauldrons, making renewable lava farms a far cry from automatic. So if you're fed up with all that setup too, then these carpet machines might be the easy way out. Make no mistake, this is item duplication, but if you're cool with that, then this newfound carpet is sure to keep your furnaces up and burning for the foreseeable future. In the new Minecraft update, pickaxes are now food, or really any item is. Because of the way that they've changed data packs recently, it's now possible to make it so that any block or item can behave like anything. So you could literally turn a block of dirt into the best pickaxe in the game and have it auto mine diamond ore, or you can make the dragon egg something you can eat like a sunny side up. Or you could turn every item that you want into some kind of music disc and put it inside of the jukebox. I personally like turning the clock into the wait music disc, cause come on. And any feature that lets me put another dad joke inside of Minecraft is fine by me. This one's called TNT Rain. I'll let you guess why.
Oh, there we are.
Well, because is it
They're all
different
different
times?
types.
It's different types. Whoa!
It's like spawning trees and burning them at the same time. Make up your mind.
This is brutal.
Whoa.
There goes the gold.
Yeah, this is like a hyper time lapse of like,
Yeah, society.
yeah. They have war, and then they fix themselves, and then they get a lot of money, and then they go back. This is a rise and fall video.
Yeah.
Here's how to do Green's boat prank, but so much worse. Since now with the new crafter block, we're able to face that into our dispenser and have it in such a way where it's automatically crafting the boats for even more storage. Think about it, boats aren't a stackable item. So in the past we had way less storage going into our dispenser, but oak planks are stackable. So placing those inside of chests, we're able to have 1,382 potential boats stacked up in just this small system using 4 chests. So if you could believe it, this could get pretty ridiculous in how many boats it places into this one water block square. And as the original user is quick to point out, when you break this, you're very likely to also kill the server that you're standing on. So only do this if you really want to be mean, or if you have some way to clear all the boats afterwards. Now, it's common sense that if you're on fire, water is the cure-all solution. I mean, even cauldrons uphold that fact. They aren't exactly for consistency. But if we all know that to be true, then I ask, how in the world does this this work? As it happens, if you're on fire in a boat, you're able to submerge yourself in water and still burn the same. Stranger still is that you're still able to drown in that very water, even if it doesn't put you out. And folks, that's the definition of a lose-lose situation. Elytras are a great asset to have, but having to beat the dragon before you get one could be something of a hassle. So if you found the end portal and want to jump to the good stuff, all you need is a piston to make it work. As Mysticat shows, pushing yourself with a piston underneath the portal is enough to teleport us to the relative coordinates in the end. So if you got a slow falling potion and a handful of ender pearls, we can quite literally find the end city loop before even attempting the dragon fight. When we press the button, we're able to open up this store, but not in the way that you think. The way we do this is just by retexturing different things to look like our iron doors. So for the first one, we've got trap doors, and then for the next we use a TNT duper to blast our way through. And my personal favorite is seeing this sand door pressing the button, and instead of falling, it's really just going up into the sky. Is gravity wrong? Are we wrong? I honestly don't know. But they did do a behind the scenes video where you can see how this actually happens. That and the original video are very cool, if not obviously confusing. Did you know Mojang made it so creepers can't explode at all? It's really no joke. We're just gonna have to go up to the build limit to test it out. Since in current versions of the game, if you were to get a creeper or an exploding TNT block up at Y level 320, then at that build height, they're not able to destroy any blocks. And the reason for that is that when the game checks to see if the block has the right resistance, it just returns null. After all, you're not supposed to be able to place blocks up here, so why should it explode? And that means all explosion spread is nullified as well. If you're planning to build with copper, you need to have this farm. Since with this design by ENXO4, we're able to make an extremely simple footprint for what's going to be a very profitable farm. And the whole way that this works hinges around these zombie reinforcements. Since under certain conditions, zombies are able to spawn other zombies to help them out in a fight. And what's better yet, these zombie reinforcements ignore the mob cap. Meaning just like that, we're able to pile hundreds and hundreds of zombies into our farm. And at that point, as long as you have a looting 3 and mending sword, we can use an auto clicker to stay at this farm for hours. And at that point, the only question's gonna be, how do you store all that copper? By using carpets on top of signs like so, we all know that we can walk over these, but our mobs can't. They're just stuck. So the husk won't run over to our villager, but the villager also can't escape either. And as soon as I get rid of this and make it a full block, then they can escape just fine. Unfortunately, he doesn't know that that was a bad idea. This one's called Cola Borehole.
Excuse me?
So, oh, it's a dropper map.
Oh, it's just massive, yeah, dropper. Whee! Now, when you're playing in survival, there's certain blocks that you're just not going to see lying around. That is, unless you want to play a prank with one of these. As you can see, with the power of map art, we can create illegal block lookalikes. Boom, just like that, you got command blocks and bedrock in your base. How'd you do it? Well, a magician never reveals their secrets. As long as your friends don't go around trying to punch either block, then you can get away with this pretty cool way of putting them on display. So while you might not get admin privileges on that SMP anytime soon, you can at least pretend that you do. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the next best thing. Even though you can't see it, it's not a surprise that the ground underneath the snow layer is made up of grass blocks, and you can break it to see as much. But while that grass might look normal when we place a torch, when it's underneath the snow, it's something entirely different. And through the help of an enderman, we can see that texture for ourselves. See, if an enderman were to pick up one of these snowy grass blocks, they'd ditch the snow and just be left with a strange silver turf instead. Antimatter bomb?
Antimatter bomb. Seems like a fun time. You want to give it a try?
I'll use my fireball scepter.
Ah, perfect. Oh, let me help you out there. Oh.
What's going on down there?
Yeah, that ought to do it.
Should we?
Nothing!
I feel like we're fine. Don't worry about us, man. Everything's going A-okay down here.
Dude, we cannot tell Mom that we summoned the antimatter bomb.
She's never gonna let us play with atomics again.
Oh my god!
Mom is never letting us play with atomics again.
Ah!
So this is
TNG.
As if the portals in this mod weren't already confusing enough, we can make them so much worse. Since they're not just confined to the regular squares and rectangles that we see in Minecraft, but they can also be turned into curves, causing them to loop you inside of circles like this. So even though it appears that we're moving forward, we're really just stuck in time. And if this is the kind of sacrifices we have to make to see circles in Minecraft, I think it's not worth it. My brain can't take it. Complex doors are a staple of the redstone community, but while Mumbo can show you how to make 40 of those in a couple minutes, I bet you won't see one of these too often. And folks, your eyes don't deceive you. This is built entirely within vanilla Minecraft, albeit it did take the creator around 1,200 command blocks to build, but the result of which is still pretty special. And honestly, I wouldn't even know where to start building one of of these. But luckily, the smooth animation is something that we can all enjoy through the world download. A TNT explosion can pack quite a punch, but while that's already true, we can dial it up a notch. So what if instead of just destroying the blocks, it also launched the debris? Well, the results can get pretty ridiculous, and it makes blowing up your friend's base even more gratifying. So if you're looking to cause some proper chaos in the server, this is a solid option for sure. Just make sure your computer's strong enough to handle it. Otherwise, that house won't be the only thing that's going up in smoke. Meteor showers bring May flowers, but what do meteor showers bring?
Well, the Mayflower brought pilgrims, and that's what Dan is. Dan,
Yeah,
where'd you
Dan
go?
just
Don't be
left.
scared of it.
Oh, well,
Not
there's the
again.
Mayflower.
Dan, are you scared of a little natural disaster of extinction?
Oh, look, it's moving the bomb.
Whoa! Oh my God!
It's launching the meteor bomb.
Oh no! Can't even see them when they land.
Yeah, they do get a pretty wild range. Look at our poor jungle.
Look, they tear through the mountains.
Welcome to Stampy's lovely world. Clearly, command blocks are capable of some pretty wild things, but what this user pulls off feels like an act of science fiction. See, what's happening here is that the machine can scan the blocks within the area, assign them to a particle, and then recreate a copy down below. Meaning you only have to build one big statue and you get a little souvenir for the same effort. And even better, it'll even rotate for a proper display, which I've got to say is a lot more exciting than just another static statue. Minecraft's world border is an odd piece of code, and when you fly out 30 million blocks to visit, you'll see as much. But while there's been plenty of attention given to these glitches, I think this is equally strange. See, if you get a spider next to the border wall, then the mobs will start climbing it as they would any other, which I guess makes some sense, but I'd figure that since we can't place any of our blocks on it, they'd have nothing to grab onto, and it's maybe the only chance they'll ever have it climbing up to build height. Building a house is a tale as old as time in Minecraft, but having the game build house for you is a bit more exciting. That's why this display of a house built entirely of falling blocks is so wild to see. What's happening here is that we have a command block array perfectly timed to launch each and every block into its respective place, until it finally gives us our finished result. And full disclosure, for this to work, you will need a flat surface. Otherwise, those building blocks will just collide with one another and fall right off course. Here's how you're able to make infinitely wireless redstone using just an iron and a diamond pickaxe. Now, as this exploit is demonstrated by user Jerry Lum, you can see that what we have to do first is place down a cobblestone block here in front of the piston, and then start breaking it with our iron pickaxe. Then, once we've done that, we're going to push it out of the way using the piston, and instead place an obsidian in its place. And now this gets a little weird, but you have to start breaking the obsidian with the iron pickaxe enough to see the block break animation. Once you do, switch over to a non-pickaxe slot in your hotbar, and at that point the game knows that the obsidian's supposed to break, but it won't actually break until we switch over to that diamond pickaxe. And folks, that's basically your recall button at this point. As long as you don't switch over to that diamond pickaxe, you're not going to trigger this obsidian. Now yes, because we're using obsidian to set this up, it will take a long time to set up too. I mean, 5-minute timer is going to be pretty rough. But being able to sync up one of these with your Ender Pearl stasis chamber means that anywhere in your world, we can basically press a button to teleport ourselves right back to the spot, which is really so cool. Or you could set it up with a nether portal as I do in this example, and turn it off when you're getting chased in a manhunt. I mean, as long as you have a block update detector like this, it's a fully wireless universal remote. And at that point, it's really just the limits of your imagination. Go wild.
What is this gonna do?
This is, for some reason, there's a ventilation block, so I'm just... Dan,
Sure.
did you open up a black hole?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to take away from your...
Please let this be a normal mod showcase with the Dan? No way! And with that, folks, YouTube thinks that you might like this video, so see if they're right and have a good one, all right?